Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Unlimited, where we interview unlimited people that are breaking the bounds of what we know is possible. Today, we have with us Suzanne Ross, a local hero here in Sedona. And she is incredible because not only is she a practiced, I went out to lunch with her one day and she told me all about her morning routine and checking in. So she's actually doing, living and doing and breathing everything that she teaches and talks about. She does private sessions, she does private retreats, she does conferences, she writes books. And I really just think there's so much in explaining this from this loving point of view, which you are, and you're so grounded and you're so powerful and you've made so much happen because at your retreats, all these people have these epiphanies and they meet people and they learn things, and it's getting people together is such a big task, but it's a rewarding one. So thank you from all of the community for what you have been pulling off in now the 10th year of your retreat. So amazing.
Oh, bless you for that beautiful introduction, sweet dear Zenka. And you too, you have been creating incredibly powerful, impactful projects to reach out to the community at large yourself and through media. And recently you had your Purpose Lab. And so I just want to send that right back at you and shine a spotlight on you as well. And also to express my sincere gratitude for having me on your show.
Yes, I've been looking forward to this. I'm very excited. Yeah, and you had your hand in helping out in the Purpose Lab film because you helped, we were filming Mark Anthony and Roxy and all these different people. It was really, really beautiful, the amount of wisdom that was transferred in your conference and in some of the footage we got. So I wanted to ask you about your book series because it's this trilogy called Up, and I wanted to specifically talk to you about Rise Up. I'm going to share the screen really quickly just so people know what I'm talking about. So this is Wake Up, and then now we have Rise Up, and there's these 10 days. Tell us about all of this, Suzanne.
Well, you know how it started is I was going through this process, I'm going to say from about 2010 until about 2014 when I lived in Northern California and I had this long nature walk. And at that time, I was only working at a wellness center where I offered mind, body, spirit courses 3 days a week. So the other 3 days, and then the last day I always spend with my husband. But so then I could spend 3 days a week immersed, totally immersed in my spiritual growth and my consciousness expansion. So I was like, doing like deep trance meditation. I was using Buddhist practices for mudra, mantra, tantra, and I was having these like powerful downloads in seated meditation. But I would go out on the nature trail behind our house and walk along this river embankment. And it was really there, Zenka, that I had the most powerful downloads because I was using this Buddhist practice where you're imagining all this golden nectar flowing down from the heavens into your crown and filling your entire being with sparkling golden light. And it was part of what's called the liberation prayer in Kadampa Buddhism. And I mean, I really had no idea how powerful it was, but doing that would shift me into another version of reality. It was like suddenly everything was sparkling with fluorescent light. And I would get these epiphanies like, everything is consciousness. Every living thing and being is the same consciousness. And it's like the water is liquid consciousness and things are crystallized consciousness. But, we as conscious beings can interact with this field of consciousness around us and it's malleable. Right. And then I started to explore like quantum physics concepts about we're creating our reality as we move through it. Right. So I was imagining that, the reality was unfolding in front of me. The forms, right, were unfolding in front of me. And that was my expectations, intentions that were creating that. Anyway, so these powerful walks out in nature, and I would hear voices and get downloads. So one day I'm walking, and mind you, at the time, I'm primarily a wellness practitioner. And I hear this voice loud and clear. And it said, "You will write a 30-day book on the evolution of consciousness." And I'm like, yeah, right. I'm no author. Like, right, I'm a wellness practitioner. I don't think so. And the voice was like, "You'll figure it out." Okay. So the next morning, I wake up and the sun is just blaring through the window in my bedroom, right on me. I could see the sparkling light within that ray of sunlight surrounding me. And I was so inspired. And later, I was like marched down my hall and sat in front of my computer, and I just started typing. And I started typing like a synopsis for 3 10-day books, and they would be the Up trilogy, and it would be Wake Up, Rise Up, and Lighten Up. And I was like, whoa. And one would be for the mind, and one would be for the spirit, and one would be for the body. And so I realized wake up would be for the mind, and it ended up being liberating your mind from limiting beliefs. And the spirituality in there is really like Spirituality 101. I call it practical spirituality. And that one is Awakening Through Reflections, a 10-day life lessons workshop. And then Rise Up came through. And that was Awakening Through Revelation. And it's deeply spiritual, metaphysical. It's how creation came into being, like who we are, where we came from, why we're here, the cosmologies of all the like ancient civilizations. I call the reader an adventurer because we go to sacred sites around the world. And then Lighten Up is the final one, and that's for the body, illuminating the golden light body. It's a 10-day spiritual retreat called Awakening Through Illumination.
Wow, I love that your books are taking people from point A to point B, because you're right. Like, you had these revelations when you were walking on the, it's when you're in it and doing it, it's not conceptual. And I love that. I love that the first thing out of your mouth is like, this is how reality is. Like, inner, outer, everything is like, that is how mind-blowing this whole experience of life is. And you're just like, yep. And here we go. What are we creating? So it's so fascinating. And so this book right now, Rise Up, has to do with the spirit, right? Because it's not the mind, it's not the body. Tell us more.
So, as part of this awakening that I was experiencing, I started to channel. So, I would sit in these deep trance meditations. Our home in Northern California had these big windows. And in this particular hallway, it was the whole wall was a big window, and the sun would come shining in through that window. And I would just sit there and allow that sun to shine in, because we all know the sun is a portal. It's a portal to this great central sun, right? And so you're receiving information filled light, radiant light, right? It's downloading you with creation codes. And in that space, suddenly here I am, like speaking in a different accent, coming through with like answers. It's like I would think a question and the answer would come through me. And so I was like, oh my God, I need to record this because you can't write. And, so I started recording it on voice recognition software. And what I was recognizing, different personalities like Sananda, like Magdalene, like Sophia, and Saint Germain was big. And I was like, whoa, wow, what's happening to me? What is this, right? But I could ask a question like, what's the purpose of gravity? And all of a sudden, boom, gravity comes from the central core of the great sun. Whoa, what, really? So a lot of the information in my book, Rise Up, came through that. And the biggest questions were like, how does this reality work? Right? I want to know. The biggest questions. Who are we? Why are we here? Like, where did we come from? How does this reality all work? Is it a simulation? Like, and if so, how does that work? Is the sun a spotlight on the movie?
Yeah, we were just getting back from the Soul Conference, and we were asking people what they would ask another being from another realm or an ET, like, and the where are you, who are you, what are you, why are you here, like whatever. And we're like, wow, what if we asked ourselves that question at the same time? Like if someone asked us, what are you, or where are you from, or something like that. It's like, or well, who are you, where, what's your origin story, what would we say? So you're saying that you got some of those answers. I want to go into the conference that the Ascension retreat that we're going to play like a whole thing about it, but say one more thing about this before we dive into that.
The event?
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Oh, my book? Okay.
I want to play the video of the
Okay.
all the things. So, but one last thing about that, like, what was the most surprising thing that came through? That I just love that you were open enough to not question it, because the stuff that doesn't filter through the mind is what we're learning in our research, is it's what helps you do these extraordinary things.
Well, I'm so glad that you said the word research, because part of my book, Rise Up, was researching, quantum physics and researching different books on thought and different spiritual books, but really the cosmologies of these ancient civilizations, right? And part of my research was heavily channeled books like Big Fat Urantia book or the Knowledge book, you know, these channeled materials that reveal so much about how everything works and the deeper meaning and greater purpose behind it all, right? But then it's a matter of like going in and like, trying to experience that for yourself and seeing how different concepts resonate with you. And so, I mean, I would say that the biggest thing that came out of it for me and I did a ton of interviews as well, because I have a TV network, sci-spy.tv, right? SCISPI.tv. And so the interviews, the books, the research, as well as all the downloads is really what brought the book into being. But one thing that you asked me, what really, was the most like profound thing that came out of it, and I'm going to say is that this reality is scripted. That as you go through the ages, you see for yourself how these ages begin and end according to a script. And you can look at the Nag Hammadi library with the Dead Sea Scrolls, with the Apocryphon of John, and you can see how even the Bible itself, we realize it's edited, and I see in council all that, but really it's a story from beginning Genesis to end, right? The book of Revelations, the apocalypse, which is the revealing, right? And then Archangel Michael and the dragon and the war in the heavens and the new earth arises, right? And the destruction of the old earth. I mean, it's all been laid out there 2,000 years ago, so even the Nag Hammadi library is BC. So I was like, it's a script. It's a script. It's, you know what I mean? You could call it game code, whatever it is, but that I feel is a profound revelation. Oh, you're muted, sweetie.
Yeah, because you can really see the broad strokes of this and know where we're going. And so there's some calmness in saying, like, we don't know where we're going because it's all going to be so different. But from the broad strokes of, even like, I was reading a document the other day that was talking about a 200 million year cycle, or 1,000 year cycle, 206,000 years. So then there's the 26,000 and 22, it's all these 11-year cycles. So there's all these things, and some of it, you can, see some of the way that it's all getting filtered through.
And these harvests, right? Like, because the Law of One series, another series that I've read word for word multiple times, and I'm just like, whoa. So, like you said, like every in there they say 25,000 years, but we know, but then there's a harvest every 25,000 years, but then every 75,000 years there's a major harvest, right? And what is that? They're harvesting the ripened seeds. Right. And so harvest sounds kind of creepy, but it's not. It's like this, script. Okay, who's winning the game? Who won the game and is ready to play the next game? That's it. And if you haven't mastered the game, you're just going to play it again.
Yeah, and that's why this is so fun, because I think they said that this is a time also that when people that are kind of new at this can advance quickly. So they take all the souls that have like matured, but they also take all the people that are on the cusp and ready, because it's like you can, so much is happening. We're learning so much. I feel like I'm healing, like I'm just like, okay, I feel that. Like it's so fun, and we're creating a new world. I want to play okay, so let me share my screen for a second, and I'm gonna take you. Well, this is your TV that is CISPI.tv. So yeah, and all these different videos, and we're going to go over to the Ascension Retreat, so 10th year anniversary, but I want to play this video that's right here.
Us for our 10th anniversary celebration during our 2025 Sedona Ascension Retreat, celebrating a new humanity uniting and a new earth arising, featuring the world's most renowned spiritual teachers, best-selling authors, and award-winning performers. Our retreat includes a dozen indoor workshops and 8 outdoor journeys into Sedona's vortex sites, as well as a Native American performance by world champions, the Sinquah family. Enjoy on-stage presentations.
All crystallized seed at the center of that orb of light is your physical mind.
So today we'll be talking about religion versus spirituality, because I think there needs to be a clear line drawn between the two to get a better understanding.
This path that we're all on has been well mapped. The science is established, and what we are doing today is recovering.
Because there's going to be such higher states of consciousness on the planet, such an influx of energy, people will start getting activated. And you will have atheists that suddenly see angels.
I am your host, Suzanne Ross, and I invite you to join us for our 10th anniversary celebration. Just visit SedonaAscensionRetreats.com. Reserve your seats today. I'll see you in Sedona.
I love every single one of you with all of my heart. I mean it. I mean it. I love you and you and you and you and you and you and you. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's awesome. Here's the full lineup here, because you only tease out so much in that video. So Darryl's going to be there, Billy Carson, Robert Edward Grant, which you saw. All these different people. William Henry, everyone's talking about him right now. Mark Anthony, absolutely incredible. Vivian, Adam, Alan's going to be there, of course. Kristin Hoffmann also, she is like that's like, to be in the presence of her sound is just she's incredible. I just saw her in Tokyo and I was like, wow.
You're right, I know. And that was at Alan's recommendation. I definitely want performances, sound journeys to be part of these events so that people have the opportunity to really drop into these sound journeys and have an experience of feeling elevated, uplifted, right? And then I also have like a performance with a Native American family who does this, like as you saw, the dance. And I'm sending you the MP4 right now so you can, actually put that in.
Yep. Yeah, that is so amazing. Before we talk about some of your favorite speakers, let's talk about the core of why you were doing this and why you think it's important that we ascension and all. Why did you spend 10 years building this project?
So I had my first event in Pleasanton, California, in Northern California, and I was launching my book, Wake Up. And as part of the book launch, I wanted to have this event where I could be on stage, talk about my book, but I knew I didn't want to just be me up on stage talking about this book. So I started to recruit other authors, other wellness practitioners, other spiritually inspired people. And I created this event. And so it was so much fun. And we had a good turnout and we filmed the whole thing. And I was using clips from the filming that I was putting on social media. And I just discovered that I loved doing that. I love shining a light on other people, as well as getting up and talking about like what I'm doing, how I'm serving and creating. So that really was the start of it back in 2014. And then I moved to Sedona in 2015. And like, as I drove through town the first time when we first moved here, I was like, I am going to have events here. Like, I'm going to do journeys on the land. Like, just all this stuff is like being revealed to me about what I'm going to do here. And so I drove by the Sedona Performing Arts Center and I said, someday I'm going to be in there. Someday I'm going to have my event in there. Right. And here we are. But yeah, I feel really inspired. The biggest thing, it's like, yes, I love, these tremendously powerful speakers, like William Henry, like Billy Carson, so full of such profound knowledge and wisdom to share with the audience. And they rock that stage, right? They just own it. And it's just so awesome. But at the same time, it's the gathering. It's the gathering of the people who come and that feeling of oneness. It's like we're all in love and we're just all on cloud nine and just so happy to be together in love with one another. That's my favorite thing about it.
Yeah, it really is. Like I've had profound meetings with people and like you said, there's also a chance to get out of the land, but it's just being here in Sedona and being around different people and having conversations to change your life. I mean, even just people in Vivian and Peter's technology. I remember people walking out of there just mind blown,
Totally.
pyramids and things, just to experience that. And yeah, I remember last year, I mean, when Darryl was there, channeling Bashar, I mean, you could have dropped a pin. People had come from Europe to be there to ask the questions and to let, it was just, it's something about being in the presence of, that energy and that amount of knowledge. And it's so cool. So cool. What are you going to be talking about?
Heaven on earth. I'm going to be talking about heaven on earth. And I know that sounds really simple and maybe even cliche, but I tell you what, I have been so immersed in the Gnostic teachings of the Essenes lately. The Secret Book of All Ages, also the Apocryphon of John or the Secret Book of John, the Nag Hammadi Library, like this really deep wisdom and knowledge and revelation about creation is just like blowing my mind. And, they're all saying the same thing, that heaven is going to descend on earth. Like, this earth transforms into a heavenly realm, and it's all of the light that's being showered upon us right now, right? Even coming, through our own sun, like we're getting a lot of help on this ascension. but it's not necessarily that we go anywhere. It's just that, as you start to expand your consciousness, you can perceive the next higher spectrum of light. And so suddenly a 5D new earth starts unfolding around you because you've opened your heart, you've expanded your consciousness, you're increasing your light quotient to the extent that suddenly you are a 5D crystalline light being perceiving the 5D spectrum of the new 5D earth. And so, yeah, I'm going to share like the amazing revelations that come direct from Gnosticism and these secret books.
Yeah, that is so significant about the time that we're living in right now that I've noticed. It's like all this stuff. I mean, you had to be studying to be a priest to see the Jewish Gnosticism, from what I understand. Like this was like, and not even a modern person 5 years ago in LA was like, oh, you can't read that book because it will make you crazy, basically, is what she was saying. But now all this knowledge is being sifted through by everyday people like us that are using it to cause this tipping point of this. So what does an ascended world feel like? Where are we going? And then I want to talk about William Henry and some other people.
Okay.
But what does it feel like when we use our consciousness, when we use these tools, when it becomes clear how to do it together through all these books and all these teachings that you're bringing and all these other people, then what does it feel like when we get there?
Oneness. It's all about the unity. It's all about the empathy and even the telepathy. I mean, it is such a profound sense of oneness that all you want is for everyone to be at peace, to feel the oneness, to be in love, to experience love for self and one another. That's the animals, the plants, the people, Mother Gaia, everything, right? Every living thing and being is connected in this field of oneness that is love. We are all of from the same divine source. And what is that divine source but divine love, right? And so, people will ask like, well, what do you think about God and Jesus? Like, just to interject this really quick. So Sci-Spy, my Sci-Spy.tv channel, right? Merging science and spirituality, Sci-Spy. Now what comes to me in an epiphany, because that came to me in a meditation. Now what came through was spiral. And I'm like, spiral? Merging spirituality and religion. And what does that come up with but spiral? The most fundamental pattern of creation, and what better symbol to bring together to merge spirituality and religion but spiral. So I'm like trademarking it because that's the next thing, spiral TV, right? But, even that Gnosticism, the pre-Christian, Gnosticism and Kabbalism that are the basis for Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism, right? Like, spirituality and religion were one, right? And so, like, when people ask me, like, what do you think about God, Jesus? And, I'm like, well, I think God is all. If you're really going to have a definition of God, it's all. But God is love. So really all is love. And Jesus, right, is a truth, a way, and a light. But so is Buddha, and so is Muhammad. And like, it's all just oneness. And that's, I feel, 5D.
Yeah, that is so cool. And it's rooted, like when you peel it down, yeah, like what is God? What is the Supreme? What is the Buddha? What is love? Self-love and love for others. And the whole thing. And it feels good, like you said. And we're getting there. We're so getting there. we can feel how it feels, and we can see how this comes together, because we're not falling off as much anymore. Who are you excited to have at the conference speaking this year?
Well, you know what? Aaron Apke Zenka is new to my roster.
Cool.
Oh my God, I discovered him on YouTube, right? That's how I find some people, is because like, okay, who's like, becoming like a YouTube phenom, because you want to have people who have a large following, but they have to be super cool and talking about something that's really legitimate. They have to be authentic. They have to be fascinating and sincere, right? Like, I don't just go for numbers, like, you know what I mean? And Aaron Apke, he was going to become a pastor. His father was a pastor, right? But he knew there was something missing in the church. So he became a bodybuilder, right? And then, like, he started discovering the true teachings of Jesus as an Essene born in Nazareth. And that's why he's called Jesus the Nazarene. And I mean, he is just exploding with such incredibly inspiring and empowering knowledge and wisdom, and he's sharing it from his heart. I mean, and I interviewed him, and he's a super humble, cool dude, because I only have cool people at my conferences too. You have to be cool.
Yeah, there's people that like him, like you said, that have grabbed the mic and they're speaking something, like they're channeling, just like you did your books. It's just like they're like, this is coming through, and they're good at telling the story that we all find ourselves in, creating these new ideas and possibilities. Wow,
Right?
cool. He looks like a leader. That's so great.
And Ann Tucker. So I had Ann, of course, I dearly love Bashar and Billy Carson and William Henry, and mwah. But some of the newbies I wanted to shine a light on. Ann Tucker channeling the angelic realm, and I had her at my conference, Zenka, in September, my September Transcendence retreat. And she got on stage, and wow. I mean, she authentically channels the angels, I can tell you. And she is someone else who is really blowing up on YouTube and speaking at events now. And she is so just humble and sincere and just in service. Like, she's totally dedicated to serving. And when she channels those angelic realms, what she brings through is just so mind blowing. And she talks a lot. She's had a new book has just been released, and it's really what the angels are sharing about the end times, if you will, and like what's going to happen. How does the age end? What's going to unfold? And what's our role in it? And what can we do to go along for the ride, like on this ascension path? So, yeah. I love her. Sarah Breskman Cosme, Zenka, like, here she is, this QHHT practitioner inspired by Dolores Cannon and, that quantum, hypnosis technique. Oh my gosh, her clients start revealing their lives in Atlantis, in Lemuria, in Egypt, right? And they're describing Atlantis, this crystal technology. And, I'm just like, oh my God, I love your books. And she's also super humble. She couldn't be any sweeter. She's like, I don't know. These people just started sharing this knowledge and I wrote books about it. And, it seems to have taken off. I like people that are super humble and just dedicated and just, right. But she's a powerhouse, too. When you interview her, she just couldn't be any sweeter, but she's also, full of such profound knowledge and wisdom, that's been revealed through these sessions. And she really dedicates herself because this is her like third book now that is coming out. And the third book is about Avalon. Avalon, like, right? How cool is that? And the Avalon is connected to the Atlantis, is connected to Egypt, right? So I just love these people, you can tell.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing their website, Zenka. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it is extraordinary. Yeah, to get all of these people's research, their expertise, they've been in it, they're doing it, and it's so interesting. Like, I I am fascinated by that hypnosis technique, right? Where they take back to past lives. Like, what? Like, it's so interesting, right? And how interesting that our past is supposed to be more futuristic than our future has become quite yet, or that we have, like, it's what? So what can we learn about the technology of the past and spiritual technology and how we do that? That's really fascinating.
And what she found really compelling is that these clients, it's not like they were someone like in our industry that studied a lot about the potentiality of Lemuria and Atlantis. And like, this is like someone who was in her, in a, like a school group, you know what I mean? Like a neighbor who, she would hang out with. Like it was not, you know what I mean? I think that's kind of compelling too, right? It's someone that you wouldn't expect, like all of a sudden revealing, coming to her for something else entirely. And then all of a sudden this comes through.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like not even what our consciousness would expect. And I think you could say that about everything that you're learning, as you're downloading. It's like, well, I never expected them to say this. Like, this is what's so cool about this journey, because it's moving pretty fast right now. So I just wanted to share this. So this is going to be March 14th, 16th. LightNet's going to be there, Starseed Academy. We're going to have a booth. They do have booths, so you can look at this vendor thing. There's also outdoor journeys. So these outdoor journeys are where you can get off on the land and do all of this stuff where you're working directly with these people. Medicine wheels, bathing in the vortex, embodying your destiny, all this stuff. Very cool. We got some stuff sold out, so jump in there. Sedona Ascension Retreats. Oh gosh, I'm so glad to spend this time with you. We could talk for hours, because my brain is just like, oh, we're going to talk about this. So we'll have to do it again. And love, just love honoring you, Suzanne, for being a leader, to put all this stuff together and to really say, like, there's something good over here. Let's see what it is. So,
thank you so much, Zenka. And thanks for shining a light on me and what I'm doing and creating. And I just love to serve in a multitude of ways. Like you said, I also offer sessions, and now I have business coaching too as one of my sessions, because people will ask me, right? Oh, I would love that, right? Like it was called like Divine Mission Plan of Action, but now I just have like business coaching. But I have been doing this for over 30 years, and, starting with my first wellness center way back in 1995, where, I opened to serving the mind, body, and spirit. So I'm coming to a point where, like, I want to share all that out for the next generation to really be able to rock their world and offer services and events and sessions. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to that. SuzanneRossTranscendence.com. I'm excited about that too. So thank you, sweet dear. I love you, and keep doing everything that you're doing to make the world a better place to live and breathe.
Okay, great. And it's SedonaAscensionRetreats.com. I don't know if I said that, but okay, great. See everyone in Sedona. Looking forward to it. Bye. Have a great holiday.